this is Christina Barr, and you're watching Black Tea News. Welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and I hope you guys had a good Easter weekend. Enjoyed it with your family and friends, and I enjoyed it at church. We had a really good sermon, so I did share like a snippet of me singing a song that I was going to sing yesterday, so it went well. It's kind of like I guess I'm used to singing it now, but when I first sang, I was like, am I going to hit this note? Went off without a hitch. So anyway, if anyone's interested, I posted a snippet of me singing like part of a verse of So Will I by Hillsong. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about Budweiser and Bud Light and the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing, which we already touched on. So I'm going to talk about it long. I don't intend to, but their marketing person, there's a video of her she was the first woman who like took over for the company to do the marketing. And there's a video of her talking about how they needed to rebrand Budweiser. So when I did my video, I was like, explaining the process through TikTok that he has a big channel and maybe it wasn't so intentional but I think this is kind of evidence that maybe it was more intentional because she's all about inclusion and chasing after a different customer. So we're going to watch that video today and talk a bit about it and just how these crazy people just want to ruin brands and they really, really resent their customers. And I see this time and time again. We'll get to it when we get into that segment. But also Macron from France, he set some alarm bells as the French president rejects America's rhythm on Taiwan and the whole China dynamic. So that... doesn't seem great as far as European leaders stepping away from America, leading out in front and expecting other people to kind of follow along, especially with this China is the bad guy sort of mentality that we have, because a lot of the other world doesn't feel that way. And I was talking about this yesterday at dinner with someone in my church who's very politically savvy and was just talking about the weakness of Biden and how China's feeling in a role in other places where America is lacking. So very interesting coming out. And also one of the Tennessee 3 who were expelled, actually 2 were expelled, but 3 were nearly expelled. But one of the guys is in the news. They're all in the news, but one of them had said some racial slurs to a Republican because he votes the wrong way. And so he's like a brown face of white supremacy, which that term has been used a few times, but and doubled down on it. So I just want to highlight these people who we have in the news, who all these people are uplifting. They're all over Twitter, they're all over TikTok feeds, and just because you might agree with them on some stuff or they might share the same skin color as you doesn't mean that they're good people. So I just want to point out his racism and some things about the other folks as well. So before we jump into it, I want to encourage you guys to go to blackteennews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, different videos. I did drop one on Saturday night about the Biden administration and how they just do not want to admit that when Christians are targeted, it's a hate crime, though they treated other hate crimes very differently. So I mentioned that, and also the fact that I had forgotten so fast that when Biden was asked about it, like if like the Josh Hawley thought it was a hate crime, and he was like, well, I guess I don't then, and laughed. He's like, I'm just joking. I'm like, bruh, that's not the time to joke about that kind of stuff. So anyway, that article's on the website. You guys can check it out. I also recently shared an article I wrote about the color of Jesus' skin doesn't matter because Justin Pearson, he's one of the Tennessee Three. There's two of them named Justin. One is Jones and one is Pearson. But Pearson did a rant about Black Jesus, which we talked about. I think it was Friday. And but no, Jesus wasn't black. And people who are obsessed with his race, like they need him to be a particular way, you just don't kind of get them. Like for historical purposes, it's, you know, interesting and important, I guess. But he's eternal, you know, so how obsessing over how he looked for 33 years is kind of silly to me. But anyway, I'm not going to sum it up on here better than I sum it up in the article. So if you're interested in the article, I you know, encourage you to go ahead and check it out. Shout out to people watching live on Facebook and YouTube, and if anyone's watching on Twitch. And if you like what I do here, please consider supporting Black Teen News at the website. You can hit the donate button. It costs to stream, costs to run my website, all that good stuff. And you might be like, it doesn't cost to stream on YouTube. I'm using software to stream at multiple places at particular times, and there's just a process going on. So if you want to help with some of the overhead, God bless you. There's other equipment, other things that we could use here at Black Teen News. So if you can, I appreciate it. If you can't, understand. But thank you guys for watching, for commenting. All that stuff really does help. I see you guys are faster getting in the gate here when we go live, so that's exciting. And I do very much appreciate you. And lastly, I want to mention that I do have merchandise at the store. Actually, I'm wearing one of my shirts, the "I am not the victim you're looking for" shirt. So I actually made this after the whole Gina Carano situation, but yeah, I'm not the victim you're looking for. So I got that one at the store, as long as and other ones as well. Let me just pop up like maybe one or two other ones. Well, this is the one that I'm wearing. And I also got the Be Better Not Bitter shirt, which we could send to Pearson and Jones, I suppose, but I don't think they'd wear it. But or if they did, maybe they wouldn't get it. But anyway, stuff's at the website. I do not have a meme for you guys today. Apologize. But I will say something that it is amusing me. So Anna Kasparian, who's with the Young Turks, some time ago, and I think I mentioned it briefly. I'm not sure if, when it happened, if I did or not. But she had wrote on Twitter that she doesn't like to be called a birthing person. So Anna is on the left. She's not I suppose that people would think that she's pretty far left, but she's not as left as apparently other people are. I don't know if age has mellowed her out a bit or whatever, but you know, she's getting into it with these very progressive people. So she said she doesn't want to be called a birthing person. She's like, I'm a woman, call me a woman. And so people were very offended by that. They're like, we just want to use accurate language and inclusive language. And they're like, no one is forcing you to be called that. No, that we just use that, you know, to be accurate when we're describing people who give birth, and not no one's calling you that. And so I saw her, some people were having a conversation online about Anna and how people were defending her, that she wasn't a TERF or that she's not anti-trans. And some people were upset. They're like, y'all just want to come to the aid of the white woman or something like that. That's what they were saying. But Anna just retweeted it, just kind of laughing. And so people came at her again. And so she's like, it's so funny to me how upset these people are about me not wanting to be called a birthing person. Let me see if I can just go really quickly to the tweet. She said, LOL, the meltdowns over wanting to be referred to as a woman rather than a birthing person is pretty wild. I'll never apologize for that, especially as a biological woman who has had a bleeping lifetime of being told I'm less than. I'm a woman, no apologies. So props to Anna for doubling down, because the discussion that she's replying to, you had all these people who are like, we have to call out these big accounts, because if we don't call them out and make them hold them accountable, then they're not going to apologize for what they did. And I'm just like, she has nothing to apologize for. Why would she apologize for saying, I don't like being called a birthing woman? And so a birthing person, not woman, but birthing person. And so someone said, this guy Tyler Hackner said, has anyone called you a birthing person? Anyone at all? And she said, yes, Tyler, I live in California. So I could believe someone has probably called her that. Yeah, we just want to be known as women. That's what we've been. That's what we'll continue to be. And they're using birthing person. It's not about using inclusive. It's not. It's not inclusive. It's coercive. Sorry, not coercive. It's corrosive. Corrosive. That's what it is. It's using corrosive language, because they want to erode away what it means to be a woman, so you can get everyone else involved who feels like it. It's like the term cisgender as well. It's like a crowbar that they're using to pry open what a woman is, to let other people come inside, when the truth is, birthing, someone who can give birth, someone who has a womb, is a woman. you know is a woman. So props to her for not backing down, but she had a lot of support, though there's plenty of people on the left who did not like her tweet. But there's plenty of people on the right who also agreed, and not only people on the right. There's plenty of people on the left who don't want to be called birthing persons, etc., and don't like the language. Of course, those people will automatically be called TERFs. But hey, is what it is. Is what it is. I get called a TERF all the time. I'm not a TERF though. I'm definitely not a TERF. I don't identify as a feminist, but anyway, let's talk about this Budweiser video first. So you guys are well aware of the whole Dylan Mulvaney situation, where Dylan is someone who has over 10 million followers on TikTok. He's not well liked on other platforms, but TikTok really, he has followers on other platforms, but TikTok protects Dylan, really does. I'm surprised that now that I can post anything about the trans stuff on TikTok, but if I would post something about Dylan, it's likely that it would be taken down. I've had videos taken down very quickly about Dylan Mulvaney. So that's why in his videos, like, I want to address women on Twitter who don't like me very much. He has to address the women on Twitter, because the women on TikTok, they're in his pocket. Like, if his opposition on TikTok is clearly shut down, people go mass report or whatever. But on Twitter, he has no such power, right? Because Elon Musk owns it. If it wasn't owned by Elon Musk, it would be a different story. People wouldn't even be talking about this stuff really on Twitter so much if it were not for Elon Musk, and you wouldn't see that pushback. So there's a reason why he addresses women on Twitter who don't like him, because TikTok very much does protect him. But anyway, he had some sponsorships from Budweiser, and so I'm not going to play them. I've played them in another video, but there's a weird one when he's in the bathtub. That is one of the weirdest things ever. And then there's another one where they put his face on a can, like a beer can. And so I don't think he's not literally on cans that you can go out to the store and get, but they made a specialized can with Dylan Mulvaney's face on it. And I hope you guys are following along and you know enough about Dylan Mulvaney to know he's a effeminate gay man who is going through this days of girlhood. And so he says he's trans, and he's been a full year identifying as a woman and has gotten all this fanfare and support, etc., blah, blah, blah. So Budweiser sent him a can with his face on it, and then he was talking about March Madness, but didn't know anything about March Madness. So it was very, in normal circumstances, you wouldn't have someone like him do anything with your beer in normal circumstances, but we don't live in a normal world. So people start looking into, like, why would Budweiser do this? And so just to recap, if you are on TikTok and someone wants a sponsored post or something like that, or sponsored video, someone with the company will reach out to you through, TikTok. They'll give you like kind of their list of demands or whatever that you have to do. You come up with a script together. They approve the script. You set up your payment arrangements, and then they have to approve what you put out, and then it goes up for sponsored posts, sponsored videos, whatever. He has a very large account. Again, he has over 10 million followers. It could be more than 10 million now. I don't know. Last I looked, it was 10 million. So with that many people following him, they probably paid him a lot of money to be worth his time to do it. So it was probably a big, payday. Even if you don't have, if someone's willing to reach out for you to do an ad, they normally pay pretty good. So him with the following he has, I would wager they paid him a lot, a lot of money, to do that. So he had a sponsored ads and people obviously reacted badly. I was at an event last week and we were planning event that's pretty good. It gets a good gathering of folks, and it's a yearly thing. We raise a lot of money for a good cause. And so at the meeting, they're discussing drinks, different alcohol that they would get. I don't drink at all. I don't drink. I don't smoke or anything like that. Never have. Never going to. I'm going to leave this world sober. But I know in politics, people love alcohol. Because I'm involved. I know people love the alcohol. When people were flipping out about Brett Kavanaugh saying, I like beer, I'm like, y'all are some hypocrites. I know y'all all like beer. I know you all do. So, anyway, when they were talking about the alcohol that they were going to get, they were like, no Budweiser. Everyone's like, no Budweiser. And there was some Budweiser in the fridge. And so at the house we were meeting at, and so they were like teasing them having in the fridge. Of course, and they have Mulvaney's face on it, and it was already like purchased before the big blow up. But I just thought it was funny. And I shared it on YouTube, and man, people had a reaction to it. But I thought it was so interesting that they had that reaction, because to me, that just shows that this particular story has pierced the veil of just being a typical social media story. So I talk about things that trend and, things that, I don't know, maybe will be on the news or something, but like the pop culture kind of stuff, that's not always like hitting the mainstream. And so everybody like was aware of it. So it's interesting that this has like ticked off so many people in such a mainstream sort of way. So people start looking into the person who was behind marketing. So Budweiser had their first female some time ago become the head of marketing, and so her name is Alyssa, I believe it's Alyssa Heinderschied. I assume that's a German name. But she became in 2022 July the first woman to lead Bud Light, the largest beer brand in the industry, and that's what she says on her LinkedIn anyway. So in the 40-year company history, I guess they haven't had any women or whatever lead the marketing in any sort of way. So people were like, oh, we see that she's changed some things. So this video has emerged. So this may explain a little bit.
I'm a businesswoman. I had a really clear job to do when I took over Bud Light. And it was, this brand is in decline. It's been in decline for a really long time. And if we do not attract young drinkers to come and drink this brand, there will be no future for Bud Light. So I had this super clear mandate. It's like, we need to evolve and elevate this incredibly iconic brand. And what I brought to that was a belief in, okay, what does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone. It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive and feels lighter and brighter and different and appeals to women and to men. And representation is at sort of the heart of evolution. You've got to see people who reflect you in the work. And we had this hangover. I mean, Bud Light had been kind of a brand of fratty, kind of out of touch humor. And it was really important that we had another approach.
So, fratty, out of touch humor. So, so you have this person take over, and the brand has been associated with what, young men who party. You're selling beer, right? And so she wants to apparently make it lighter and fun and gay. Let me see if I still have the picture of that can where it had all the LGBT stuff on it. Not sure if I do still have it up or not in my inventory. Let me see if I can find it really quick. But I think they're the ones who did the Real Men of Genius. Those were good commercials. So I saw someone do a parody of the Real Men of Genius. The parody was okay. It wasn't. I thought it could have been better. I thought about like doing it myself, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to just kind of rip the idea. But maybe I will. um so here's their can that they had all this stuff on it. Now this isn't the Dylan can. The Dylan can had Dylan's face on it, but you know, this is like, and you can't go and get the Dylan can, but this is, you know, the kind of marketing that they're doing because they want these new customers. And it's fine that you want new customers. Now, again, I don't drink. I've never had a Budweiser, but from the, I don't know, conversations I'm seeing online, maybe they have a decline in sales because maybe it doesn't taste as good as other options that people have. It has been a major brand that's been around for a long time. Maybe people just have more options that are better. So maybe the formula is a problem and not so much the marketing for it, you know? So maybe there's different kinds that they have to, maybe they have to make better tasting beer. I don't know. I can't judge that. But having this resentful attitude toward like, oh, these frat boys and with out of touch humor, etc., and wanting to appeal to this inclusive, different customer, it just really goes to show you that these people who take over these industries have, I don't know, a bit of disdain and disrespect toward the people who have made it such a brand. So I mention this all the time with comic books. One of the reasons why, there's plenty of reasons, but one of the reasons why I don't want to buy or read Marvel comics and stuff anymore, or really DC either, but I have a bigger sort of disdain toward I won't read either. I totally quit like all things Disney pretty much. So I haven't seen a Marvel produced product. Well, I guess I haven't seen anything Disney related since WandaVision. So I haven't totally cut out DC out of my life in that way. They can keep pushing the envelope and maybe we'll get there. But like I'm cold turkey on you know, the Marvel stuff. And one of the reasons being, there's lots of reasons, but not only are they like woke with their stuff, it feels very clear that they hate people like me, that they hate their customers. They hate people like my dad who would spend time in the comic book shops racking up those bills, you know, who had a pull list and would spend their time in there collecting books, talking to people in the store, you know, accumulating those memories, who had boxes of books and had these collections, buying memorabilia. All the people who made it what it is, they hate that guy. They hate that my dad. They hate me. They hate everyone who's made the brands what they are. They hire in these new people who haven't created anything. They just have an agenda and they use these iconic characters to push their agendas down people's throat. They're just wearing the skin of these characters while there's a different soul inhabiting their bodies. And I hate it. I hate it, and I'll give the example I normally give. Um, when the Punisher, they changed his logo, and I'm seeing if I had a cup of. If you don't know the Punisher logo, I don't know how to help you. It's the skull on the, it's just like a worn out kind of skull. I guess it doesn't have to be worn out, but it's just a skull on the front of the shirt. So they changed it, and now it looks all piratey. Or at least last I looked, it was very piratey. And the reason why they changed it is because people on the internet were taking the Punisher and they were interjecting it with like a blue line for like support of the police for whatever reason. And Marvel didn't want to have that association anymore because can't support cops, I guess. And so they just changed their character, like the logo of their character, as opposed to like getting over it, or as opposed to, I don't know, telling people to stop, like do a cease and desist, whatever. They opted to just like, oh, these right wing people or whatever like this logo, so we have to totally just change it. And I'm like, how much do you have to dislike these people to give up, to concede space, concede that ground on your logo that you made for your character? It was so bizarre to me. And so there's plenty of other examples as well, but I just feel so not just underappreciated, but genuinely despised from these organizations, these companies, people like Chris Evans saying you'll die out like dinosaurs. I don't like what they're doing. So um I'm like, you know what? Eric July said you shouldn't give 50% of your money to people who hate you. And so I'm like, well, this is where I'm cutting at least that out of my life. So this Budweiser situation is a perfect example, because you have someone coming in, not understanding their customer, or maybe they do understand the customer, they just don't like the customer, so they're looking for new customers. And the sort of things that they're doing would easily alienate the particular customer base that they do have. Now there could be people on the internet saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna drink Budweiser anymore," who've never had it, who don't regularly buy it. But I don't know. It seems like there's plenty of people who are like, "I'm done with Budweiser," and like I'm pretty sure that the people who I with the other day who were like, "We're not getting Budweiser for their big party, their big event," and I'm pretty sure the people who had the drinks that were already in the fridge aren't going to go and rush to buy Budweiser. I saw a video of someone who was like a vendor of Budweiser. He shared it on TikTok, or at least I saw it on TikTok. I don't know where it was originally shared, but they went to a store and they said they get paid when that beer is sold. And they said they've never seen people not buy beer like that before. And so because of that, they're like, I don't know how I'm gonna be like feeding my family right now because people aren't buying this product. So I didn't think about how it would ripple and affect people like that. And people in the comments, I did share it on my Facebook if you haven't seen it, but a lot of folks are just like, that really sucks for them, for this family, but Budweiser shouldn't have done that, and they're not gonna go buy the beer just to for the sake of that guy. But I hope we can find some other way to take care of his family. But there's certainly a ripple effect, and there's a ripple effect for other folks as well, like the comic book shops, for example. Go back to the Marvel comics and stuff, who buy this stuff ahead in bulk, and then they can't move the stuff off of their shelves. It really does disrupt different industries when these big wigs make dumb, boneheaded decisions. So it looks like it was pretty much on purpose with the Dylan thing. Now, I don't think the head of marketing, I can't say that. I was going to say, I don't think that she literally was like, yeah, give a sponsorship to Dylan Mulvaney. Who knows? Who knows? But that's the route. I'm sure that this person who's the head of marketing has hired other people who also think in a similar way. And again, Dylan has a big audience. So yeah, kind of why wouldn't you reach out to someone who has a huge platform like that? But Dylan and Dylan's followers are the kind of customer that they're apparently trying to reach because they just want it to be a big gay beer. They just want it to they don't want that frat boy. They want it to just be a queer beer. That's what they want. So the inclusion. We have to be inclusive with our beer. So yeah, they just they want to change the brand instead of that being the Real Men of Genius. It's the real queers, I guess. So, what a weird world that we live in when people don't, or people are the heads of these big companies and they don't care about their bottom lines. That's wild to me. Anyway, let's move on. So, there's been all this talk about the 3 reps who got expelled in Tennessee. Only 2 of them were expelled. One of them, the white woman, Gloria, she was nearly expelled. She survived by 1 vote. And it's funny because so people are saying that they expelled the other 2 and not her because they're racist, but she only survived because of 1 vote. So if the GOP were just racist, why was it just 1 vote that she survived by the skin of her teeth? She was more apologetic than the other 2 and not as like radical as the other 2. They probably should have just outed them all because she was saved. And what does she do? She goes ahead and says, well, I think I was spared. It probably has something to do with race. So then she just implies that her colleagues are racist, you know? Just it's stronger than like implies like that's what she's like saying. She survived because they're racist and they don't like the black people. That's the brown people. That's what it is. So they if anyone's was like, yeah, I might as well save the white woman, that backfired big time. If that was a thing. But I just think their attitudes were different. But we talked quite a bit about Justin Pearson last week and his whole Black Jesus comment. And I saw a video that Woke Preacher Clips posted on Twitter where he preached at some kind of universalist church and he prayed to God the Mother and prayed to his ancestors and I don't know, tried to invoke them and a bunch of weird stuff. He had like, if there's like people who are like Black and Christian and they're like, oh, what they did to these, you know, or you can still not like what happened, but if you're trying to like uplift these people, you know, as like some kind of new MLK or something like that, just do a little bit more digging because I'm sure these neo-Marxist, you know, weirdos aren't the people that you want to look up to or to have major influence over your lives. If you just did a little bit more digging, So example, let's talk about Justin Jones. And so there was a Republican rep who was upset because he was called a white supremacist by Jones because, you know, he's a Republican, you know. So we'll watch a bit of that clip and then also the double down. The double down is very short, the clip that I have. This clip's not long either.
3 years in America, I have never encountered a racial slur. I'm really not aware that any of that applies to me. I live a good life. Yet, you on tape call me a brown face. Yes, sir, it's on tape.
Right, and what I told you was what you just exhibited as the only member of their caucus who is not of the Caucasian persuasion. I said that you put a brown face on white supremacy. That's what I said.
Yeah, so Larry Elder's been called like a white face of a black face of white supremacy. Michael Eric Dyson has said that about several different people. Um, I don't think anyone has really said that about me before. Someone told my dad once that he's more dangerous than any white supremacist. Um, so that was Sabi Doc uh, Kumar, representative in Tennessee, and it's you'll hear a lot of pushback when someone says something racial to Republicans who are not white, and they're called, I've been called Uncle Tom. I've been called a little Candace Owens, which it's I I would like to ask Candace, like, how does she feel about her name being used as a racial slur now? And I also find it strange that people call me a little Candace, because she's very tiny. I don't know how tall she is, but she's very tiny, at least skinny. And I'm very much not so. So I don't understand why she's the little Candace. Why I'm the little Candace, because I'm really big. So I also find that interesting because, I mean, Candace she's a force of nature. She's been on the scene for a minute, but I've definitely been a conservative longer than she has. So I mean, just period, not just like as far as like her coming up with her fame. I mean, just like period, because she had a switch, and I've been conservative ever since I was politically minded. We're talking to when I was like 11, 12 years old. I'm 33 now, so. But that's the route that they go. That's the route that they go. So the brown face of white supremacy, like they're just using them as a cover to do racist stuff, but you have someone there to be kind of their token. Using language like that is super racist. It's very racist. And I'm not saying that there aren't times when someone might use someone as a token, but the people, usually, like, a lot of people complain about that are people on the left who will do that. Like Clarence Thomas, there's a story going on with Justice Clarence Thomas right now. I'll try to briefly talk about it later. But when he was going up for the Supreme Court, the NAACP said that they weren't going to get involved in it. And then he got word that they were going to get involved with it. And the reason why they changed their mind is because there was these feminist groups or whatever that wanted to go after him because, they were concerned about abortion rights and stuff. And so they needed the black group to go after Clarence Thomas. So after the black group went after Clarence Thomas, then it was okay for everyone to come in and like, well, if the black people started, it's okay to talk about the Negro now and be rude and disrespectful to them. So people on the left, will use black people as cover to come in so the white liberals or leftists or whatever can come in and do as they please. And you see this all the time, like on MSNBC and other stuff as well. So And I'm not going to say that there's no one on the right who would ever do something like that either, but so you have to trust that some people just genuinely believe what they stand for, right? And you know what? It's hard nowadays because there is a grift going on with politics and people talking and having, commentary, and people see it as a kind of a quick, easy way to get money and fans and adoration and stuff. So there's plenty of people who you got to be careful about who you listen to and how much stock you place in them, because you don't know if they are genuine in what they say. So, I get that, but there are plenty of people who I promise you actually feel a particular way. Maybe they'll change and evolve a little bit over time or whatever, but there are people out there who genuinely speak their mind. And you can think I'm not, but your opinion doesn't make it true. So again, ever since I've like been involved in or politically minded, I've only been involved in like a politics as activist sort of wise since 2012. But since I was like a kid, I've like 11, 12 years old or whatever, I've been politically minded and I've been on the right because I've been conservative, and even before I got involved with like the Republican Party or white conservatives or anyone, you know, our church is very political as far as like it being involved in knowing stuff, mostly because of my dad. He would read like Drudge every day. He'd read all these stories from around the world. Before you could argue with people on TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, whatever, he would go to barber shops to debate politics with people. So you know, he'd listen to Rush Limbaugh and so on. But he used to be a Democrat. He used to be a Democrat, but he changed tune after my sister was in high school, and she had a very good government teacher who just kind of explained what it means to be Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, etc. And he had like a little test that he gave out to people. And this is in an inner city school. And most people found out that they were actually conservative. So much so that the school wanted him to stop doing the test and asked him to, and made him stop doing the test. So there's people out there who have more conservative leanings than what they let on, or more than they know, but folks don't want them to know. So when my sister came home and she's like, Dad, I'm a conservative. He's like, what? She's like, you're a conservative too. So that's been my life. There are genuinely people out here who genuinely feel whatever way that they do, and they're not just being used as a brown prop to push out ideas you don't like. And just because you don't like an idea and you're a brown person doesn't mean that that idea is rooted in some kind of white supremacy. So they throw around that word so much when it's not even the case. And then they support things that are rooted in racism and stuff too. But I'm not gonna go down that whole rabbit hole. Maybe I'll go into that deeper another day. But here's a time when he actually doubled down. This is a really short clip, but
a party, a caucus that is majority white, except one member who's a little bit confused.
One member who's a little bit confused. He's talking about Representative Kumar. He's a little bit confused. He's a little bit confused because he's not on your team. He's not on the team of Black Jesus. Okay. Like it's totally fine that people disagree, and you can have different skin colors and disagree. You can be from the same neighborhood and disagree. You can be from the same family and disagree, and no one has to be representing any sort of white supremacy. That's possible, you know. That's possible. So before everyone like jumps on board as these people are really thrusted into the spotlight, just do a little bit more digging on these folks. I implore you. You know, sometimes people just want to jump on the bandwagon with people because they have the same skin color as you or some variant of your shade. Like Lil Nas, for example, when his song, Old Time Row or something, gonna take my horse to the something, ride till I can't no more, that song, everybody was like talking about it, and someone was like, oh, there's this guy who Lil Nas who just did the song and was telling me about it, like it was some kind of inspirational story about him, you know, writing this country song and whatnot. And I was like, and everybody, I guess, has a story about how they made it, and it can be inspirational, whatever. But to me, it just kind of seemed like there were so many Black people, even like church people, even though this was like a secular artist who like gathered around to uplift this person because he's a Black person doing something unusual in the realm of country or whatever, or at least for that particular song. He just mostly does rap or whatever. So turns out, you know, he had like the devil shoes, right, with the blood. Wasn't that Lil Nas? And wasn't that Lil Nas? And he did a photo while he was like pregnant. He did a lap dance with Satan in one of his videos and stuff. So they uplifted this guy because they're like, oh, we're gonna uplift this Black dude, and it's like he didn't share your values. You just were excited because a Black person was doing stuff. I'm like, I didn't understand it, but it, you know, and I'm not. saying he doesn't have good music or whatever. Well, I don't listen to his music, but there's catchy things that pop up on TikTok. I'm like, oh, well, that's his thing. That's his thing. But he's a weirdo. He's some weirdo into some depraved stuff. So be careful just who you support. Just because the media is uplifting them, or just because of their skin color, you know, make sure that you shouldn't even put too much stock in people's individuals. Like, I appreciate people following me and liking me, etc. Blah blah blah. But you know, follow values and stuff. You know, if you want a hero, like, look to Jesus. But you know, if you agree with me and the stuff that I say and I do, I thank you for your support. But you should support the values. You know, I don't want to get too cynical, but I just, you know, people can fail. So just a little warning here and there. And I don't plan to fail you or anything like that, but sometimes people get so caught up in the cult of celebrity. Anyway, moving on. French President Macron rejects American rhythm on Taiwan, nods to China's unity after meeting with Xi. So this is the Fox News article. French President Emmanuel Macron, following a trip to Beijing in which he met with Chinese President Xi Jinping, said in a new interview Sunday he does not believe Europe should follow the American rhythm on Taiwan. We don't want to get into a bloc versus bloc logic, Macron said in an interview for French business daily L'Echo, arguing that Europe should not be caught up in disordering of the world and crises that aren't ours. The question asked of us Europeans is the following: is it in our interest for there to be an acceleration on the topic of Taiwan? No, the worst thing we Europeans could do would be to be followers on this topic and to adapt to the American rhythm and a Chinese overreaction, he said. Why should we go at a rhythm chosen by someone else? As Europeans, our concern is our unity, Macron added, according to German broadcaster Deutsche Welle. The Chinese are also concerned with their unity, and Taiwan is a component of this unity from their point of view. So he's just like, my name is Bennett and I ain't in it. So, pretty amazing. So the U.S., and I had a conversation, like I said earlier, with someone from church about the world stage and how the U.S. isn't there to kind of be that leader with the power. Not because we're not still strong, big and bad and strong or whatever, but we just have a lack of, it doesn't feel the same. You know, you could feel the shift when Biden took over, especially after Afghanistan, you know, that level of competency wasn't there. And it's really going to give China, and you see China making big plays around the world, cutting deals and making, you know, having conversations and building up infrastructure in other places, even not just places around the world, but even here in America. So China is making some pretty big moves, and I don't think Biden has that sort of respect that other people normally have, which is funny because so many people didn't want to support Trump because they just see him as a big joke. But I don't think that people see Biden as a leader. They acknowledge he is a leader, but they don't see him as a global sort of leader. And I think America, you really feel a void, and China stepping in to fill a void in so many different places. So France saying, like, again, my name's Bennett, we're not in it, we don't have to lead with America, etc. You know, it's very interesting, very interesting to see where all this is kind of going to go. So we'll have to keep watching as other people kind of signal where they'll move with these issues and what will happen if China makes move with Taiwan. And I'm sure they're emboldened by Russia and Ukraine situation. And one thing that sucks about so many people hating Trump, and I don't want to be a downer to people who just still adore him so much, but independents hate him so much. They despise him, and he can't get to the number that he needs to be president unless those numbers move. And that's just a fact. And there are plenty of Republicans who so much still love Trump, are going to stand by him, etc. There's also Republicans who are frustrated with him, but it's really, but there are people who will, you know, go to their home team when the primary's over, right? Regardless, and begrudgingly vote for him. And there's people who are going to love him and vote for him, but you do need like the people in the middle to make that difference. And when Trump was indicted, I mentioned how like 72% of independents believed that it was politically motivated, and like 62% of them still said they were okay with it. I'm like, that is not good. That is really not good. So Trump, if anything, he was really good with foreign policy. And even some comedians like Trevor Noah was talking about how Saudis and people wouldn't take Biden's phone call, and they're like, this kind of stuff would have never happened with like Trump. Like, and he doesn't like Trump. Like, these people don't like Trump, but they acknowledge there was a difference in people's mindset with Trump. So he was really good on foreign policy. I'm not saying that other Republicans who might win the primary, whoever, won't be good with foreign policy, but it's different knowing how someone acted versus hypothesizing how someone will go into office. But it's too bad. It's too bad that Biden is in the White House right now. Just in general, overall, it's not. I don't think it's good for the world in the least bit. Last thing, I guess I will go ahead and mention before we close out the day. Clarence Thomas. And I was going to write an article about this. The article will be more detailed, but on Saturday I went to go see my nephew, and he's playing basketball. And so my sister Sabrina was driving her car. So we are all riding in her car. We're riding in her car, right? And so while we're riding in her car, I just tell her, she's in the car, my older sister Katrina, my youngest sister Tina, and my mom. And I'm like, by the way, people are really mad at Clarence Thomas because he has a very rich friend and he gave him a ride in his airplane, on his boat, on his yacht. And then they all, like, I'm in the middle seat and everyone just like turns and looks at me. Like, and they're like, and everyone's just like angry, like, so what? What does that mean? They're like, is there more? I'm like, nope, that's it. Like, they're mad because he did not report like the cost that would be if he had flown himself in the private plane of his friend. And this is a friend he's had for decades. So, yeah, they're really mad at him and want to cancel him and want to investigate him, etc. And they were just floored. And so there's a TikTok video where someone was reporting on it. It got a lot of views. And so many people in the comments were like, oh, he has no shame. Oh, he's so terrible. Clarence Thomas is awful. And I'm just like, specifically tell me why you think that. And they're like, you must be joking. You must be joking. This is sarcasm. I'm like, no, tell me why you think it's so bad that his friend took him on a ride in his plane. Like, tell me why you think that's so bad. They're like, well, it's just corrupt and he's lobbying for his votes. And I'm just like, well, that's a claim. I'm like, do you have some evidence? Do you have some proof of that? And so people stopped talking to me about it. Stop replying. But I just wanted people to take a step back and think about it. Now, some people on the left have said, you guys are hypocrites because if George Soros was like paying for flights or whatever with and hanging out with Kagan or somebody, you guys would flip out about it. And I don't think that's an unfair like whataboutism. However, I don't think George Soros would need to get a plane ride for these people for them to vote in the way that you probably want them to vote. You know, they're ideologues, you know, and Clarence Thomas is someone who respects the Constitution, and Kate and everyone else has a bit of, you know, on the left-wing judges have a particular sort of ideology that they're going to stick to. So I don't think George Soros would need to get him a plane ride to think a particular way. But these people, they have been friends for years. So it's important to note that as far as reporting, because you don't want anyone to be compromised, but he didn't break any rules. He didn't break any laws. Now, there was like a rule change or something in March that said like it would need to be reported or something if you're traveling with a friend and to figure out the monetary value or whatever of it. But that's just something that just happened. And we're talking about something that's been going on for a long time. So people are upset about this recent rule change, and it's like they're retroactively trying to condemn him for things he's been doing when he didn't technically do anything wrong or outside of the scope of the rules or whatever. So I don't know. I don't, I have some friends that I know that are pretty well off. I don't know if I know someone with I think private plane probably. I haven't flown in one before. I've been on not mega yachts. I've been on a yacht before, some nice yachts, but, I don't think it'll be crazy one day that I'll have, be riding in some extravagant kind of stuff. So but even just taking it down to the level of like, I just rode in a car with my family, like that. You want me to calculate how much like the gas and the mileage or how much that would be and report it somewhere, are they mad that his friend is a conservative? Are they mad that he's rich? Are they mad that, I think they're just mad because they hate Clarence Thomas and that this was a way to crucify him in the court of public opinion, because he didn't do anything wrong. So they can't get rid of him. And it's so bizarre. I mean, God forbid the day he passes away, he's such a great justice, but it's not like he's a spring chicken. So why are they so pressed that they want to attack him so much like this? This doesn't make, do they think they're just going to wear him down and he's going to retire very soon? Not under Biden, he's not. So he could be replaced by the person who did the high-tech lynching in the first place? Yeah, right. So, gosh, it'll be a sad day. He's such a good justice. He's the best one on there. And people hate his guts. And they've always hated his guts, and they'll continue to hate his guts until he's no longer with us. But yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. There's some people who are like, they believe that he should report or whatever. I can understand that. I can meet you there. But people trying to condemn him again, he hasn't broken any rules. And if you're trying to go into history and be upset that he's been doing something that he's been allowed to do for X amount of years, and now you want to punish him because someone changed the rules in March, that's a little crazy. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blacktnews.com/donate. It costs to stream, costs to run my website, all that good stuff. So if you can support, I ask that you do. And thank you guys for commenting in the comments and stuff. So that definitely does help going live. And attract more people to the live, etc. And also thank you guys to everyone who watches it back later. This is my proof version of my book, so I just want to show you guys the I hate that Amazon still puts this resale thing on there. I mean, I know it's a proof copy. You don't have to put this ugly strip across it. But anyway, this is what the physical book actually looks like. Of course, God is blatantly against abortion. I'm very excited about it. So make sure that you guys are pre-ordering the book. The pre-order version is available for like the Kindle version, or you guys can get it on Nook too. You can go to Barnes & Noble, you can go to Amazon. So this first book I'll be going like wide with, that you'll be able to like order it from like different stores and stuff, but I'm still going through that process of putting it everywhere. So right now you can get the digital copy in like 2 different places, and it'll be officially out on the 26th of the month. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. I worked very hard on it, and my sister, who was with me on, was it Thursday or Friday, where she joined me? Maybe it was Wednesday. I don't remember, but my youngest sister is the one who did this art here for the Hand of God, reaching out to the baby, and she did such a wonderful job. So all my other book covers I've done like solely myself. So she did a great job with this painting, and then I like did the rest of it. And but yeah, the focal point is absolutely that painting there. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, it looks so good. I'm so excited. And I hope you guys are really blessed by it and challenged. Like the theology stuff is really good in there and stuff, and there's biology or whatever, but I think the philosophical sort of stuff is really strong too. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And again, check out merch at the store. I'm wearing the I am not the victim you're looking for shirt. So excited to get this and wear it for you guys. But it's available on the website. If you go to blacktnews.com, check out the store, and I'll be adding some more stuff on there soon. I'll be adding, people really like buttons. I will be adding buttons on there soon too. So my buttons will be, I think I'll have some spicy kind of buttons. Sometimes I'm concerned about what I put on a t-shirt because I don't want them to be like, we can't print this and just nuke my account. But there's things I really want to put on a t-shirt that I haven't yet. Anyway, God bless you guys, and I will see you guys tomorrow.